So we just got a bit of breaking news, and that is the actual offer that the Braves offer. We heard from Jeff Passan that they were a real threat. Now we have the numbers, and this is from Scott Lauber. I don't know. I don't know how to say his name, but he writes from Lauber, whatever. I don't care. Maybe he's French. Anyways, the offer was 6 years, $162 million. Aaron Nola went 7 years, 172. So the Braves didn't go that 7 year, but they had a higher AAV. So I would almost say that the 162 is probably even a better offer. But as we saw, and then there was the Dodgers offered 165 was in there, and there is at least one other team that was even higher than that. So clearly, he wanted to stay in Philadelphia. 7 for 172 is nothing to blow your nose at. That's a pretty damn good deal, especially for a guy who has really close to a 4 ERA over the last 5-6 seasons. But I would have loved Aaron Nola. He was a workhorse. It seems like he was Plan A. Now it looks like the Braves are pivoting to Plan B, which John Morosi of MLB Network, who's kind of been on top of this. I mean, he was the first guy to really say, hey, they have interest in Nola and Gray. Now Nola goes off. We see that they had legitimate interest. He says they're pivoting to Gray, and they're now among the top suitors for his services. But as I said, leading into this segment, I think what the Braves, what they need is a guy that wants to come to Atlanta, is going to take maybe a slightly less offer or something in the same ballpark. I think they're going to give him a fair offer, right? But the guy's has to want to come to Atlanta. Like, it takes two to tango. Now, you would think a lot of people would want to come to Atlanta. Why would you not want to compete for championships and all this stuff? But that's not always the case. You have a guy who absolutely loves Philadelphia, and Aaron Nola. He probably didn't exactly want to go to a division rival and become like an arch nemesis of a place that he probably has very fond memories of. I do think they were in the conversation, but at the end of the day, he gets the deal. A guy like Sonny Gray is very interesting. I think he's from Nashville, so he's from the South. Makes a lot of sense. But like I said, it takes two to tango. Like, the guy's got to want to come here. If he desires to stay in Minnesota and they offer him the same deal, guess where he's going to go? He's going to stay in Minnesota. And then you're left, who do we go to now? Because Blake Snell and Yamamoto are going to probably get 200 plus mil or close to that. And I don't know if the Braves are going to go into that realm of top free agents this year. So that leaves you wondering, where else do you pivot? There are trade. We talked about Dylan Cease. We've talked about Corbin Burns. There's going to be other guys on the market, but the Braves do have a lot of avenues left. I don't think Aaron Nola, but the one thing I want to take away from this is they are willing to spend for a free agent. Yep. Like, that would be by far the highest free agent the Braves have ever signed. I think almost double what they've ever offered an outside free agent. So that would be so it's clear that they are eyeing a frontline guy. I do think they'll get it. I don't know how it's going to happen. I don't know if it's going to be Sonny Gray, but that looks to be the top target right now.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned, it takes two to tango, but it's clear the Braves are willing to, go further than they've ever gone in this area, than we've ever seen. Generally speaking, the low ball is not the word. They offer what they deem is a fair contract. They did it with Freddie. They did it with Dansby. Other team, the Freddie thing is something differently entirely, but the Cubs valued Dansby's leadership and the kind of guy he's going to be as a focal point of that franchise going forward. Whereas the Braves kind of saw him as more of a dispensable piece, but they still valued what he brought on the field and in leadership. The Cubs just valued it a little bit more. Didn't make sense for Alex Anthopoulos and this organization. What this 6-year, $162 million deal tells me is the Braves are now willing to go maybe a little bit outside their comfort zone. So I do think that, maybe a bidding war isn't what Anthopoulos desires with somebody like Sonny Gray, but it could be, still, more in the realm of possibilities than it was in years past. And I think the same could be said that we shouldn't, just forget about the history of what Alex Anthopoulos has done in the past. And I think the trade market is absolutely a possibility, especially when you have, a slew of guys who are right on the cusp. They are major league. They're ready for the major leagues, but maybe not for the Brave system, who are in a win now. We're doing everything to win a World Series, whether it's J.J. Smith-Shawver, Hurston Waldrop, Vaughn Grissom. There's a list of those guys who are right on the cusp or should be playing every single day or every fifth day for the pitchers on a major league team. So, Hurston Waldrop a little bit less than A.J. Smith-Shawver. But, there are pieces that, like you said, a Dylan Cease should probably take a little bit more than that. A Corbin Burns, and then a subsequent contract extension for one of those guys. Dylan Cease is under contract for a few more years, but, Corbin Burnes is a ace of ace, frontline starter. If you were going to give Aaron Nola $160-something million over 6 years, why would you not give somebody, if we want to talk about value, who is better than Aaron Nola, a little bit more money, buy out this last year of arbitration and just kind of go, this is going to be the guy instead of waiting till free agency next year. We're getting ahead of free agency and just going to get our guy right now. The thing that all of this tells me is that Anthopoulos has seen enough of, these pitchers are starting rotation, taking hit after hit after hit in the postseason, and he is going to overkill the position. It's very clear that's going to be the approach this offseason. Whether it's Sonny Gray, another free agent, or, a trade candidate, I don't know, but it's clear something's coming down the pike. I think you could take that to the bank.
I think, no doubt. I said it last segment. I'll say it this segment. The Braves are going to acquire that frontline, starter that they've been eyeing. Now I don't know if it's going to be Sonny Gray, and I don't know necessarily. He's probably more of
he's not a frontline guy, but yeah.
But he's right up there. I mean, we're talking about a guy who led the league in FIP 2.83, had a 2.79 ERA last year, and then finished second in the AL Cy Young race. And then you have a 3.22 ERA since 2019. And you also have to remember 3 of those years came in Cincinnati, the Great American Small Park, which is just known for giving up a ton of home runs. So his run prevention and one of the most hitter-friendly ballparks was also fantastic. So I think Sonny Gray is right up there near a frontline starter. And do the Braves necessarily need a frontline starter? No, they need a guy that can go in game 3 that's not Bryce Elder. They don't or whatever. And maybe not even game 3. I mean, you're talking about Charlie Morton. If he has a really good year too, you still have him if guys stay healthy. But you need to have one that, safety blanket in case someone else does get injured. And 2, another guy that can go. Because guess what? You're going to need a 4th starter if you get to the next round. We just haven't been able to get to the next round in the last couple of years. So I think Sonny Gray makes a lot of sense because he's older at 34 years old. He's going to require I'm going to say a 4-year contract based on what Nola got. I think he'll get 4 years. That'll take him through his age, 34, 35, 36, 37 season. But there's no reason to say it's not like this guy is throwing 100 miles per hour. There's no reason to think that he's going to fall off a cliff or anything like that. So I think it comes with a lot less risk. He might not be as reliable or know the NL East like Aaron Nola did. But in terms of just the quality of pitcher, I don't think they're too far off. And then there's, like I said, not nearly as much risk.
Yeah, and you could kind of, take that, let's say Sonny Gray gets somewhere around 100, approaching that. You could take that extra $70 million that you were going to allocate to Aaron Nola and put it into another guy, a lesser guy, a back of the rotation guy, or, bolster the bullpen even more. Or go get, that stud left fielder, make the best outfield in baseball. There's plenty of ways Alex Anthopoulos can attack this offseason. I think you could take it to the bank. We're going to get a frontline starter.
Yeah, well, I don't think the AAV on Gray and Nola's deals are going to be about the same. So they're not going to
total value.
But they're not going to be able to go out and get another person like that. That's not how it works, because you go over the luxury tax, you're penalized. You're now have a $300 million payroll. So it does matter in terms of the AAV and stuff like that. So I don't imagine. I think the plan right now is probably Vaughn Grissom in left field. And then I think they go out there and spend their money, all their money on the starting pitcher. Maybe they're obviously going to have a bench bat and stuff like that. Nicky Lopez leaving, so all that matters. But I wouldn't expect too much action out of the Braves outside of, there's going to be little moves because we have 10 roster spots open in the 40-man roster. But I wouldn't expect a ton of action in terms of big deals outside of, this one deal that they're hopefully going to get for a frontline guy. Coming up after the break, Georgia just looks more dominant by the week. They actually blow the doors off of Tennessee.